The Zambian government, Bishop, sold the copper mines in North.
You're listening to us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Namaste and welcome to the Monday edition of the Lall Show. We come your way every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on 99.1 and 99.5 FM at 19 hours 20. Mr. Lall will make his presentation this evening, after which we will take your calls and of course read your comments and your messages. So without further ado, I hand you over to the man of the moment. Mr. Lall, over to you.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
And welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Josh,
Thank you.
our studio is full tonight.
It is.
Thank you, guys, for popping by and sit with me here so that we can have a very frank discussion after this little presentation I have. I'm going to make it into 5 minutes tonight because I have a lot of guests here who says they want to contribute to what I've been preaching for a year now on this radio program. You guys going to contribute, okay?
We agree.
Good,
Yeah.
agree.
We agree.
The first thing I want to tell you guys what I've learned. One thing that I've learned in this life that I will never forget, and I would like you guys not to ever forget this too. Never take advice from an unsuccessful individual. Never. You never take that. No matter how bright or how smart you think they are, if they are not successful, if they have done nothing for themselves, chase them. Get rid of them. Don't keep them next to you. If a man can't make a good life for he and his family with a good advice, what advice you think he will give you? If he can't make a good life for himself and his family, what advice can he really give you?
He needs one.
Yes. Namaste, Guyana. Before I get going, I want to convey my gratitude to the many people who have been texting me, calling me on the work that I've been doing. Me and my staff, Kiana Wilberg. A young man called me this morning who's a doctor, and his words really pierced me with this thankful message he gave to me. And he said, Glenn, please continue doing the good work you're doing. You and your radio program, your newspaper, with Kiana Wilberg, is the only medium we have in this land that is educating us as to what's taking place in this land. And he begged me not to stop. So I just want to say thanks to you, Doctor, and the others who have been showering your congratulations and wishes on us. Just knowing that, it gives me strength, it gives me the willpower to go on, to continue to share what I know on our resources. And I will continue to do it as long I am breathing. My blessings to all of you. Let's get kicking, Ms. Harris. Looking at COP26 summit this morning on climate change, almost all the world leaders said we are digging our own grave if we fail to act now, this moment. I love that phrase, digging our own graves if we don't act now. And they went on to talk about the heat waves, the wildfires, and the massive flooding we are already experiencing presently in this world. And if we don't act this moment, we are heading for a total destruction of this universe. Our sister country, Barbados, Prime Minister Niamotli delivered a powerful, moving and touching presentation that had many of the world leaders shaking their heads. I will have to play her 3-minute speech for you at the end of this program. I was so proud listening to her that I feel, as a Caribbean man, it is overwhelming in my soul when I listen to her when she spoke this morning. I feel the entire Caribbean should have leaders like her. This is the same Prime Minister who headed the 2020 election madness in Guyana and told the coalition as is. It's the same thing, guys, I have been preaching on this radio program for almost a year now. If we fail to act now, we are all heading to our graveyards with all these foreign contracts. Forget about climate change for now. I am talking about our money, cash, paisa. In India they call it paisa, and in the Spanish world they call it dinero. I went to Leguan yesterday, and of course we had to pass through the Perica Stelling, the gateway to the county of Essequibo. Auntie and uncle, the condition that it is in for the last 30 years, if any foreigner passed through there, you know what they would say? This is not a third world or a fifth world country. When you look at the Stelling, it's like a hurricane had just passed through the area. And I don't think hurricane fully describes the condition of this main entrance and exit to Essequibo. It's worse than that. It is an abandoned graveyard looking like a place after a war. hundreds of millions already spent there, and maybe a couple more hundreds of billions will be spent there over the next 50 years. Guyana may very well change 10 presidents and more, and it will still be looking the same way it looks today. This is the brilliant and corrupt clowns we have running this country. These are the kind of leaders you guys worship and not holding them accountable. If anyone here have a glass, could we cheers?
Cheers. Cheers.
Touching down at leg one, it saddened my soul when I look at the Stelling 2. I'm ashamed to tell people the people I went with, that I spent some time on that island as a young man on vacation. It is no different than the Perica Stelling, but we did see some workers driving concrete piles to either make a new one or give it a facelift. When that is completed, I will give you guys an update. Every Stelling in Guyana looking like if a tornado passed through them. The Breeding Hoop and Georgetown Stellings are staring us in our faces like if they were bombed out. Everywhere you turn in Guyana, government buildings, properties looks worse than some African and Asian countries. The building behind the NDC office at Leg 1 is being left to fall apart. Right next door to me here, Uncle, in Charlestown, the post office look like if it has polio or AIDS. When I look at these things, I just can't help saying to people, the people I am around, look at these clowns we have running this country.
The 21st century.
In this 21st century, this modern day age in which we live, this technological era in which we now find ourselves in. I was invited by a few friends to meet with some folks at a mandir in Leg 1, hoping to get a chance to enlighten the gathering as to what's going on with their resources, in particularly the oil industry. However, Pandit Sunil changed plans the night before we touched down. We still showed up in Leg 1 and had a lovely meeting with some folks. Dr. Narayan was a lovely host. Let me say a special namaste to him and Pandit Sunil too. Thank you, Doctor, for the wonderful discussions and tour of the island. I hope the religious leaders of the three main faiths in Guyana can invite me to come and give a little talk to their congregations as to what is happening in Guyana, to the people's lives, livelihood, and future. With this vast wealth, this enormous wealth we have just found. So I am always open for invitation, guys. I am always open. Call me anytime. I'd be more than delighted to share the little I have learned and what I know with your resources. And it is very important. Coming back in the boat, a 9-year-old girl approached me with her mommy and asked me for one of the t-shirt we were all wearing. I gave her one and she immediately put it on. The team that I went to Leg 1 with, we all were wearing the t-shirts, calling for the change of all foreign contracts. And some of them had demand 50% royalty now, not tomorrow, now. I must say, we looked very nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
For those of you joining me on Facebook and YouTube, you will have a chance to see the photographs. My operator posted it up there already. Just glance and see how beautiful we all look in it. The country of Ghana has been producing oil umpteen years now. Where is Ghana? 3/4 of the population is living with $2 a day. Ms. Harris, in 2015, the same year we discover oil, the same year the PPP get knocked out and the coalition went in. Same 2015, Ghana set up a gas plant to generate electricity to supply approximately 1.6 million homes. The contract Ghana signed with ExxonMobil. Listen to this carefully, bro.
Yes.
The contract Ghana signed with ExxonMobil them have Ghana paying for 90% of the gas that they cannot use.
They're scamming all over the world.
They were losing 500 million US a year. And I'm certain 2 years ago, they were able to break it down, bring that down to 200 million US a year they're losing on that gas to shore deal.
And this is where Barrett they went to get recommendation.
The deal with Exxon and the gas plant has left the country in a predicament
Yep.
they can't come out of. We Vice President,
We want the same plan.
we Vice President Bharat Jagdeo been there 2 weeks ago and now telling us today in a press conference he held
Yes.
that how he is seeking advice going forward with this gas to shore project at Wales. Matter of fact, he said tonight, couple of them coming in, and next week, as these leave, another set will be coming in. That was in the news today and over the weekend. And I am here just to tell you what is going on. And in the same breath, Ms. Harris, President Ali said how some of the people of Ghana is also coming here to invest in our gold fields. Remember, I just said, take advice only from successful people in your lives.
Never from a fool.
Yep.
Ghana's gas to shore project is a failure. And them coming to advise we here in Guyana.
Nice.
Well done, politician.
And who not coming to advise you, coming for going your back dam for your goal. Can you cheers with me again, please?
Comments are lighting up everybody.
Guyana's total outside debt as of June this year is about $3 billion US. But it is likely to meet the skies very soon. President Ali said he met with an investment group in UAE, the United Arab Emirates. He met with the Kuwaiti president and the IDB president, and how he putting together a list of projects that Guyana needs to send to them to finance How you like that?
Yes, sure. You want
He said, Kuwait and the group from UAE is ready to invest, and how the president of the IDB is coming this week to see and get an understanding of some of the projects
Yes.
what got to be done. Man, this is lovely, man.
The same IDB helped Ghana.
The Ministry of Finance, Ms. Harris, putting together a list of projects to implement in Guyana. Them say we have to get an industrial zone. Let me repeat that. We have to get an industrial zone. Put in new infrastructures, healthcare, and build a new city. Then gonna expand the housing drive and upgrade Guyana's information technology. I will be reporting back to you from time to time as the amount of money we will be borrowing and what projects they will be doing. Miss Harris, when you're stupid and you're worth something, the whole world want to be your friend.
Yes.
Yes.
They want a piece of you.
Yes.
You don't have to go to university to know that. Uncle, you better pray that your country don't become like all those African and Arabian countries living on AIDS and debts. I told you guys Nigeria, the largest oil producing country in Africa, has $108 billion debt and went to the World Bank just 2 months ago on their knees with their mouths and their hands wide open, begging for $11 billion more to help them to survive, to help them with this COVID that's going on. Man, could we cheers again, man? Auntie and uncle must have a glass of wine in their hand too. Or a glass of water with the pressure tablets. I'm not giving you pressure tonight. I pray that Guyana doesn't end up like Nigeria. I passed through Letem just a year and a half ago and looked at the industrial zone these clones have there. Man, you gotta see the brand new roads, the infrastructure, the lighting poles. And when you glanced at the neighborhood, you think it's a jungle you're looking at. You don't want to know the money they spend there. President Ali going to borrow more money to build more industrial zones. But he didn't say where. I only hope it's not in Timbuktu. Let's move on, Uncle. The owners of the Kanji oil block, along with ExxonMobil, said over the weekend they drilled the third hole in the Kanji oil block and said they may find oil. They may find oil that will put money in their pockets. But they plan to drill on until they find money. Yes, to fatten their bank accounts. All over have oil. But that when they drill there, that's not enough though. So they just said that's not, the exact word they use is commercially viable. Those are fancy language. No, fat money for them. While they keep drilling, they are drilling into every Guyanese pockets. Like I said, every hole they drill, wet or dry, fine or no fine, is your pocket and bank book they're drilling into. And these brilliant clowns we have, not changing that exploration agreement or contract.
Pump, baby, pump.
Yeah. And while them adding billions of bills in our name every day that goes by. ExxonMobil Corporation boasting. They're boasting only up to yesterday
Yes.
that they earn an estimated 6.8 billion American dollars.
Profit.
And how them share price gone up in 2021.
Thank God for Guyana.
Thank God for them, not Guyana. ExxonMobil said their money represents 7.4 billion increase from 2020. Thanks to improved demand and strong operations. Them money have to climb. Them share have to keep going up because everything is almost free here, buddy. It's free. You get it free. Let me ask you this question, Uncle. Is any one of your clowns in this land been announcing what Guyana getting for the last 3 years?
Yep.
But every 3 months, check the oil people profits. It keeps going up in the billions of American dollars, Uncle. While these corrupt clowns, proud to say they are running to IDB, Kuwait, and UAE for loans. Did I say good night, Uncle?
Yes.
No, man, I didn't say good night. Let me say good night, and I mean that, Uncle. I mean good night from my heart. A policewoman said she can't make it anymore, Glenn. She got to find another job. Even if she got to work conductor in the night, she can do it. This is the oil-rich Guyana we have. You got to love this place, man. You got to love this land. Hear more, guys. Hear more of what these oil people proudly announcing. ExxonMobil was happy to tell us that the third quarter capital and exploration expenditures were $3.9 billion at the end of December.
Wow.
No, sorry, at the end of the third quarter. And by December, this year I'm talking about, bro, the investment will reach 11 billion American dollars as the company continued strategic investments in its advantaged assets, of which Guyana is one of them. Me gotta go back the piece.
Number one.
The people Exxon proudly announced by the third quarter of this year, we are already there, just there, we just passed it. They would have invested 3.9 billion American dollars. And by the end of December, it will reach 11, just under 11, $10.8 billion. With the continued strategic investments in its advantaged assets, of which Guyana is one of them. Capital and exploration expenditures, Uncle, will reach $11 billion. They did not specify how much out of that 10.8 billion will come out of Guyana pocket, for exploration alone.
That's US dollars.
They did not tell us that. You see how bold they are to tell us how much money they will be spending out there? You know who would be paying back that? Guyana Oil.
Yes.
Our pocket will be dented. And your belly, your salaries will feel the pain. I only hope you guys understand what's going on. It means them say how by December they will be spending billions out there on projects and looking for oil, searching for oil. And who's checking to see whether that money is being spent or not? You know anybody? Maybe the clowns we have here using some special mosquitoes to verify those spendings Exxon talking about. Imagine you're in a 50-50 business, Danny, with a partner, and the man only telling you every day how much billions he's spending, and you quiet. And you quiet, not checking anything. You see why I tell you I gotta love this country, and I gotta love these clowns too. Yes. You guys continue to sipping your bush rum and wait every year. That 19,000 school money and that 25,000 COVID help. You're going to get a couple more thousand on it. Yeah, man.
Election time.
You're going to get a little more thousand on that. Guyana, to get couple 100 million a year. While these people get in the billions of US dollar and still giving you bills in the billions. When a Barbarian man asked President Ali, what is the interest rate Guyana paying on the loans, capital and exploration expenditures in the oil sector, he tell the man, oh, you're listening to the Lall show. We got answer. We got answer to all his questions. He's still running to Kuwait, UAE, and bringing the IDB man to give me more loans. And he's still not talking about what interest rate we will be paying. Yeah, you learn. Speaking on Guyana operation, Ms. Harris, ExxonMobil told their shareholders that it continued to progress its high rate of return from the deep water reservoir. You gotta laugh there, man. Them telling the shareholders that Guyana Oil Basin will give them a high rate of cash in their pockets. And you remember what Jagdeo said? We only get in a 300-400 million a year. And how that is not enough money. But you will have to live with that for quite a while into the future. Everybody boasting about becoming filthy rich from Guyana resources. And we have our brothers and sisters going into Chinese restaurant asking to buy dog food and telling the Chinese to please put a fork in the bag. Oh, uncle, oh, auntie. Is $100 dog food they're buying to eat. And shame to tell the Chinese the food they're buying is for their belly and not the dogs. I hear the story from 3 people and could not believe it. So I went myself today to a Chinese restaurant, one that I know, and I confirmed it. The man said plenty people come in to buy dog food and leftover food from people's plate after they were finished eating. That's where Guyana is.
It's sad. It's very, very sad.
One Chinese told me this afternoon, people do come in and ask for food, and he would try to mix up, some food and give them. But he said he never give them dog food. But he knows some Chinese restaurant do give them if they come and ask for it. And they know the people eating the food. That's where Guyana is. The second largest oil producing country on earth. Have their citizens having to settle with leftovers and dog food. Sometimes you're left speechless. Sometimes you want to cry for these people. Yet our leaders telling us, about sanctity of contract. I always remember Trinidad Prime Minister Keith Rowley. He told British Petroleum, who is their petroleum operator in Trinidad, any contract that benefits one side and one side only is not a contract. Trinidad was able to renegotiate their gas deal in 3 weeks. 6 years now, Raphael Trotman signed that one-sided, lopsided contract in which our vice president, who is running the sector, said when he was in opposition, he would have never signed. He would have never signed such a contract. Today he's doing nothing to change it, telling us we got to live with the little we are getting for quite a while into the future. More and more of you will be living out of the Chinese restaurants, settling for dog foods. If you don't stand up, if you don't say something, if you don't wake up to this reality that is facing us today. The world leaders say, if you don't act now, we are digging our own graves. Guyanese, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, if we don't act now, we will be digging not our graves, but Guyana grave. Let me drink some water for a moment.
Cheers.
Cheers. The money we have, the wealth we have, we can become the lending agency of this region rather than running with a begging bowl to financial institutions. Isn't that sad, man?
Sickening.
A man who worked over 3 decades with ExxonMobil, managed several projects in quite a few countries, said to us at the Kaieteur News that he knows ExxonMobil is bad, selfish and greedy. But what he's seeing going on in Guyana is the devil at work.
Oh my goodness.
The man said the government is lost. So lost. He wants to know how come not one person in the government or the opposition is not fighting for a change of this one-sided contract. The man said when he looks at the numbers that is being peddled in his circle, the oil circle, he said Liza 1 done pay off for the entire project. And in 2 years, the next 2 years, Liza 2. Liza 1 will pay out for Liza 2 project 2.
Jesus Christ.
The man said, when they're done with Guyana, we will have nothing, absolutely nothing. He said he wants to know the minister that said Guyana will benefit in the billions. He really wants to know. He went on to say ExxonMobil got we leaders so stupid. He has never seen anything so dotish like this. The man said he spoke to some of his colleagues and had to ask them, since when ExxonMobil becomes like that? And one of them said, Guyana is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for ExxonMobil.
Why not?
This fella told us, Miss Harris, the fella told us, It is so sickening what ExxonMobil is doing to this country and its people. If he was a Guyanese, he would have moved his family immediately out of this country. Today the man said that to us. We get a new Chinese ambassador a couple days ago, and President Ali, in accepting her credentials, told her he's pleased with the help China has been doing for Guyana and was proud. President Ali was proud to list 2 projects Guyana benefited from.
Wow.
The airport.
The first one he said was the east coast of the Demerara Highway. What must have already cost 4 times the original price tag.
Yes.
And the second project he make mention of is the 8-year-old renovation of the CGIA airport that will not run over 200 million US dollar, according to Tenejil. And how he is looking forward to a better relationship with China.
Yes, more milking.
The Belt and Road Initiative that China has evolved in the world. They have been throwing projects at you and designed the contract in such a manner that when you can't repay, they take parts of your country. I've spoken many times on that already. Today, I saw France detain a fishing trawler that was caught fishing in their waters and said the ball is in England's Prime Minister's hand. He said if a solution to this dispute does not come to an end by November 4th, that's how many days? 3 days from now? Yeah, 3 days from now. France will not only seize all the fishing trawlers in their territory, but France will cut off the cables to England and slow down the trucking services in and out of England. I love that.
They know how to do it.
Yes. Just a quick note to let you know how these countries protecting their resources, their fishing industry.
Yes.
Who's looking out for us with our fishing industry?
No.
Who will compensate us?
Bara Jagdeo.
The Essequibo man asked them at the EIA consultation last week. And the man said, sir, we are not here for that. You have to ask ExxonMobil themselves, or the government. Today, for the 3rd time, our Vice President held a 2.5-hour press conference. And for over 1 hour 40 minutes, he abused down the coalition.
Same shit as you.
And focused on the COP26, climate change, fossil fuel, carbon selling, electricity, using satellite technology to monitor our forests, talked about monitoring underground gold mining, and so on.
Wow. Technology.
Electricity will come from hydro, he said. Gas to shore, solar, wind, and so on. Man, we will have so much electricity that I really don't know. Maybe every foul pen or dark pen plus your latrine will have electricity inside. And he also talked about setting the stage to generate power for electric vehicles and so on. Man, I proper had a good time listening to him. I listened every word. And in the same breath, Uncle, he talked about adapting to this new electric vehicles, which will be in here another 30, 40 years. So he's preparing now for that.
Okay.
This got to be, man, this guy is preparing for 30, 40 years ahead. This got to be a prepared man. They can't prepare your stelling properly. They can't prepare your roads, your infrastructure. They couldn't prepare the health sector, your education sector, your security sector. Couldn't prepare anything. But now you hear this man talking about preparing for electric vehicles 30 years from now. Uncle, Miss Harris, throughout his presentation, two things he spoke about at the end on the oil sector that I must bring to your attention. Remember, I've been pounding this insurance issue to safeguard Guyana and our neighbors, Ms. Harris?
Yes.
I talked about it just a week ago, in which he said that he will hold the oil companies accountable with no sign insurance policy in place. Well, today, during his press conference, he said these words. Sir, these words, I want you guys to listen to him carefully. Could you play that tape for me?
As you know, we're constantly seeking to improve the permits, and so we've already, in the one that we're looking for the Yellowtail project, we're looking for a generic position where the parent company, Exxon, will now guarantee up to we're looking at maybe up to $2 billion of any damage caused here in Guyana, because from the beginning there was no parent company guarantee. It was implicit, they said. So we are looking at it, and it has to grow. This would have to grow. But it is now acknowledging, getting them to acknowledge that there is that link between the two. That's crucial for us as we move forward.
Wow. You heard him yourself. He said, as you know, we are constantly seeking to improve the permits and so. And so, we are already in the one that we are looking at, the Yellowtail project. We are looking for a generic position where the parent company, Exxon, will now guarantee up to 2. Well, we are looking at maybe up to $2 billion US of any damage caused here in Guyana. Because from the beginning, there was no parent company, because there was no parent company guarantee. It was implicit, they said. So we are looking at it, and it has to grow with it. This would have to grow, but it is now acknowledging, getting them to acknowledge that there is that link between the two that is crucial for us as we move forward. His exact words, Auntie and Uncle. I don't know what you understand, or I try to understand it, but I know what he's talking about. And those were his exact words. You guys heard the game the Vice President playing with his country and our lives. He said there was no parent company guarantee. But he did not tell the nation that the coalition government had an agreement in which Exxon was supposed to sign and return to Guyana before the third project was approved.
Exactly.
He didn't tell us that. He told you we didn't have anything. He's not telling you the truth, uncle. It's games he playing. And I hope you guys see the games they are playing with us. He said ExxonMobil will now guarantee up to $2 billion US dollar. We are looking at maybe, you hear me, man? Listen to me carefully. We are looking at maybe $2 billion US of any danger caused in Guyana. He did not, uncle. He stammered and so on. Don't worry with that. He did not specify what amount of money Guyana will be insured for after any damage. You hear how he stutter of 2 billion. You notice that? He was squeezing his throat and tongue, choosing his words to tell us. Uncle, something of this nature, insurance, the leader can't come out clear and say, Guyana, you will be fully covered.
Exactly.
Why you can't come out and tell me that our house can go up in flames?
Yep.
And you can't come tell me that we would be fully covered. You dancing and stammering yourself, man. This is your beautiful country with beautiful leaders. They can't safeguard you in your own house from criminals. Now they're afraid to safeguard your country and future generations. Uncle, I want to knock this thing in your ears. Never forget it. BP, British Petroleum, spent 68 billion US dollar on the Gulf of Mexico oil spill. To date, to this day, where 3.19 million barrels of oil was leaked. And to date, there are so much more billions to be spent. They don't have a figure. How much more have to be spent there to remedy or to fix or to correct that issue? That's since in 2010. They did a study, and just 2 months ago, the fishes that they're catching there is no good for consumption. It's still contaminated. And this is what, 11 years after. 68 billion more to be spent. Guyana will ever see 68 billion in our lifetime from oil. So you know what will happen there, Miss Harris? Our children and grandchildren, God forbid, will have to pay for those damages to countries. Uncle, he's talking about this fourth project. Not one, not two, and not the third one. That ain't important. This type of flowery language, uncle, is only to make the Guyanese people feel good, to rush through this fourth project. You will get nothing. You will get little or nothing for insurance. He has not said a single word about using this project, Mr. Danny. Not a single word about using this project to recapture what was lost in Liza 1, 2, or 3. Although all the oil experts have been saying Guyana can use this fourth project as leverage to rake in billions of US dollar lost out on 1, 2, and 3, and also safeguard Guyana with full cover insurance. This fourth project, uncle, we can increase our royalty. We can get our full taxes. We can stop the billions we getting in bills from them dry holes they're drilling. Remember I just told you, they drill the third hole in Kanji, we will have to pay that. Each one of them holes is no less than 100 million American dollars. You hear me, man? 100 million American dollars. And we have a bank for borrow money for build a road and build one bridge and do this and do that. And every day they drill dry hole there. And then bills coming to us. All those things can be corrected.
That's right.
Right now, man. Right now. All can be corrected to safeguard if Jagdeo and the opposition put this project on a hold. Man, with this, Guyana can be at Dubai overnight. The ball is in our court. The gun is in our hand with this fourth project. And every other project to come. We got the gun in our hand.
Use it.
So let me ask, why are these clowns not paving the way to bring real money into our hands so that the Guyanese people can benefit? Can somebody tell me? Can somebody say something? Or is this a free-for-all country? The second important thing he talked about, Ms. Harris, is the relinquishment of our oil blocks. I talked about this one too only last week, in which they are not going after the oil companies to collect back the portions of oil blocks they have not used and what is required under the contract terms and the laws of Guyana. You remember I talked about that?
Yeah.
I did say they have been very silent on this subject. I didn't know whether they were collecting it in silence or in secret to dispose of it the same way they give away the Kaieteur and the Kanji oil blocks. The Vice President finally opened his mouth and said today in a press conference how they are going after the oil blocks, and the portions they managed to get back, they will put it up for public action. This is a very good news. It's a good news for our ears. This one made me smile, a genuine smile, because it means Guyana could finally begin to draw some money from them. We can get signing, sliding scale, and production bonus. We can able to call the shots on royalties, on profits, supply vessels, and so on, and so many other things to bring in some big money to feed we children. I am happy. President Ali said, leave the oil in the ground. No responsible government should volunteer for its people to stay poor. He said it is not fair for developing countries to be asked to leave their oil in the ground, to stop oil production, or not to do any exploration while the global powerhouse, the very wealthy nations, continue to develop their oil supply base. He went on to say it would be perverse if the market was protected for them and them only. President Ali had said we cannot stop oil production because poor economies like us have to survive. Yes. Then the Vice President Jagdeo added to that statement today and said their objective is to try to get as much out as possible from the oil sector, as quickly as possible. He also said by 2050, the world will still need 24 million barrels of oil per day, and Guyana has to be part of that supply chain. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I fully agree with both President Ali and Vice President Jagdeo on their positions that we cannot remain poor, that we have to survive. I am 100% in support of them both, that we cannot and should not leave the oil in the ground, and that we should be part of the international supply chain. After all, we have the best oil, cheapest to bring up, which can give us lots of money. I fully agree, yes. But Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, how we gonna pump, baby, pump? Take it, baby, take it. Bring it up, baby, bring it up. When the money is only going in one person's pocket, the oil people, them bank account. To God, can somebody help me answer that question? The language comes over beautifully. Yes, we have to survive. We should not be poor with this massive oil find. But help me understand, Mr. President. Help me to fathom, Mr. Vice President, how this country and its people can survive with a one-sided, lopsided oil contract. How can we triple salaries? How can we become a Dubai? How can we provide all these fancy, updated, and modernized services you guys promising this nation and its people? On borrow money? On loans? Huh? Because, uncle, that is the only money that is coming into this country. Every single cent of our gold, our diamond, our bauxite, our timber, our manganese, our oil, our ore is going out by the second from this land. And we still have dilapidated roads, city fences, hospitals, schools, police stations, government buildings, offices. The lowest salaries being paid to its peoples in this region is the Guyanese. And most importantly, we have our brothers and sisters going into Chinese restaurants, ordering dog food, and asking the people to please put a fork in the box. God bless you. And namaste once again. Ms. Harris,
Okay.
we'll take a call.
It was a really passionate presentation. Thank you very much. So if anyone would like to call in to contribute, the number is 622-2222 or 226-7453. Somebody made a comment. Somebody has said, Mr. Lall, some of the private contractors attached to the oil company robbing the drivers of their salary, and they're taking out money for NIS and not paying it. What do you think of this?
Ms. Harris, I really don't like to get into these private transactions. These are things between private people and their workers. It happening. It has been happening, and it will continue to happen throughout our lifetime. You have people who are collecting NIS, who are collecting workers' taxes, and they have not been paying it in, so that the employees can get their benefits from NIS and down the road their pension. And the government knows about that. The NIS knows about that. Those people should call NIS. But I don't even think they should call NIS, because NIS, you don't want to know what's happening in there. People who have paid their entire life earnings can't. They have thousands of them out there. They have them running around for years. Many I know died without even getting through,
Yes.
getting back their NIS. Since the vice president took that bulk of money to pour into the Burbage Bridge, that place is in a mess.
And you
So I wish I can help those
Yes.
people.
It reminds me of the manganese. Remember when the Chinese, the Guyanese manganese company was doing the same thing to its workers, allegedly taking their money and not paying their taxes and their NIS as well. It's just, different day, the same thing.
I will take your phone calls if you get it.
You can call us this evening on 7453 and the 226
You see, guys, sometimes
7454.
when you finish this program, sometimes people doesn't even know what to say. This is why I was so happy when that doctor called me this morning.
It's very emotional. Too.
Yeah.
You're very emotional.
The guy was like, could you have a minute to spare with me, sir? I say, yes. Who's it? Doctor. He said, without you and Guyana, this country's at a loss. You guys heard what the vice president said there? Had to arm, choosing his words, squeezing his belly. I don't know what else he was squeezing.
And then still
You know?
don't say insurance.
And still would not come out and say, Guyana, you will have full insurance. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
You're live.
I'd like to contribute to your program.
Go ahead.
Yeah, can you recall always asking why these people are giving away everything from Guyana free? Why are they doing that? Well, I'll give you a situation because you're the only person exposing all the ills and the wrongs of what's going on in Guyana. And most people are. I took a document from Yorkshire in Hull, and I was advised to go to the Guyana government, which I did. I went to Prime Minister Sam Hines, and I said, Minister Hines, I have something here to show you that there is a used oil rig known as the Marine. It was called the Marine, which was formerly owned by Phillips Petroleum, and it's finished its job in the North Sea. Rather than send it to be decommissioned, they thought of giving it to Guyana through one of my associates in London. So I told Sam Hines this. I gave him a copy, and he looked at it, and he said nothing. So I met Kit Nascimento. I gave him a copy, and I just forgot about it. And I said, Navin, you recall? No? He said, yeah. The same side quarantine. He said, I have something to tell.
I think the call is breaking up.
You're breaking up.
Yeah,
I
call on the
got
line.
the gist of what you were saying, though. He's telling us that he got one of the drill ships in the North Sea, and he offered to the people who were giving it away. Go ahead. Take
We
it.
have a call. Caller, good evening and welcome to the Glenn Lall Show.
Yes, yeah, Mr. Glenn.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes,
Good night to you.
good night to you and your family, Mr. Glenn.
Good night.
Yeah, Mr. Glenn.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Glenn. I thank you for telling us about what's going on in the country, Mr. Glenn.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Glenn. Mr. Glenn, you're doing a great job, Mr. Glenn. Mr. Glenn, and God be with you. And let me tell you something, Mr. Glenn. Good God always conquer evil.
That's right.
Many times. And I want to say this to my leaders them. I'm feeling so embarrassed that I put you out there. And it feels so bad to know that what they are doing to us it is hurtful to know what it is. Mr. Glenn, I just pray every day, Mr. Glenn, to let God take control of Mr. Ali and Mr. Jagdeo. Mr. Jagdeo, y'all please listen to us, Mr. Jagdeo. Please, 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 we begging y'all. Please do the right thing. Mr. Glenn, thank you very much, Mr. Glenn. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Good night. Good night.
Good night, good night.
Every one of us and every.
See what it says? This is the position people find themselves in. You know, it's like their back is against the wall. Where else to turn? Who should they look to? You know, and this what's going on.
Like you saw the reception you got to Legwell, it was amazing.
Yeah, take the calls. Though. Tell me about it. You have one there?
No. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mr. Glenn Lall, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Ms. Harris, Josh,
Good evening.
and members and crews from Guyana Kaieteur News and Radio. It's always a pleasure listening to you because it seems as if there is only one voice bringing out all the issues and problems that Guyana seems to be facing, especially with the oil and gas situation, apart from crime and everything else, COVID. But I'd like to begin with, you began actually talking about success. Mr. Lall, is there a yardstick that you can possibly use to measure success in a Guyanese context?
In the Guyanese context, success, for the last 30 years, if you look at where Guyana was and where it is today, we have not moved an inch.
We've gone backwards.
And success is not even a word we should label our leaders with. It's pure failure we have seen from the last 30 years. I've been asking people to name a single project, all Guyana. I've asked them bluntly in their faces, President Ali Jagdeo and Harmon and all of them, to name a single project they have took on that has become successful. And there isn't anything they could say. There's nothing. Success, I don't think people understand what is success. You have to have the understanding of what success is to bring about success. And if what you're seeing in Guyana, there isn't.
So perhaps then maybe you'd want to go back to 55 years instead of 30.
Success.
Since independence, sir.
Exactly. Success is about development. And when you look at some of our leaders themselves, how they developed their own backyards,
That's correct.
how they live, how they behave, how they operate, there is no success in them.
Business as usual.
You know, it's like they don't understand what success means. They don't understand what is development. They come from a mentality of slavery
Yes.
and being an employee rather than a boss. And when you give them this chair to sit in, like, they just don't know what to say or what to do. Some simple things I explained to two friends last night at the hotel. Even a 9-year, 10-year-old child would make the choices and decisions the leaders are making in this land. So I don't think they understand what success means.
Those two cops wanted to come back here and open a security company and also wants to train Guyana police force. And they weren't being entertained at all. They went back to New York.
Go ahead.
Well, moving on, Guyana seems to be enjoying lots of champions of the earth. And we have all these talks coming up now about climate change. Climate change is actually, are we going to have climate changes creditable to in the Guyanese context again?
Did you say champion of the earth?
Yeah, it's globally published
Yes, will be recognized as a
and recognized. There
You
go.
know, deceit is a terrible word. When our vice president was the president of this climate change, his words were so sweet when you listen to him about what the world should do and what the world shouldn't do to safeguard and protect this earth in which we live. When you listen to him yesterday when he was sitting in that chair and what he's doing now to Guyana, where climate change is concerned, you don't know which cap this man is wearing. You know, he just fall in line, he falls a suit whenever it fits him. The people are talking about fossil fuel, these gas ashore projects, and the whole world is moving away from that, and he's still running into it. That the gentleman that spoke to us today, that worked with ExxonMobil, he said Guyana doesn't understand what we are heading into with this gas ashore project. He said this is not a trap, this is a disaster we're heading into. It has been a disaster in many nations. Trinidad only survived because that was their business 100 years,
Yeah.
and they have market faith. But he doesn't give a damn about climate change. Once thing goes their way, he's happy.
Right.
You understand when I say their way?
There we yeah.
Their way. You got to read
In between
between
the
the lines. Yes, sir. The people sleep away on us, Josh.
Well, it seems as if you had quite a trip at Leg One. You must have enjoyed the boat rides and the company, I'm sure.
I always
With
do.
the people, you were warmly welcome, I guess. And also, Mr. Lall, it seems as if Leg One is a seat for corruption now. And you just to quickly mention, there were so many sites which can be described as despicable to begin with, for so many projects which have been going on and putting off. And seems as if that's another vein, you know, for draining. Read between the lines, please.
Well,
But more importantly, sir, I think there's one contractor who seems to be enjoying 27 contracts alone, versus there's another contractor who has not been given even one single contract for the entire year. How is this guy going to make out? What's happening with all his equipment, his employees?
Contract awardee has always been a problem in this land.
All right.
Since the word Janam Jog, since Janam Jog. And we complain, people complain, and that has been an open secret. Nobody hides that. And the leaders, these clowns we have, they have no shame what they do. But on the other hand, I must say that you have projects in which many contractors are not capable of doing. So you may very well find one contractor especially in small places like one on Wakenham, there's just maybe 2 or 3 of them, and they split up the work. They give who can do the work. So you would always find people would call in and make these kind of accusations. Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hello, good night. Hello.
Good night.
Hold 1 second.
Good night. Am I on to the Glen Lall show?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
No.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste to my brother Lall and the panel. You know, there was a story. There was a story in the Bible that when Noah was inspired by God that there would be a flood, and he went around and preach and teach and educate the people, and people was laughing at him and felt him and cursed him. But you know what happened in the end. When the rains came, there was a flood, and who listened to Noah was saved, and who didn't listen perished. Noah is, my brother Glenn Lall happened to be the Noah of this country, who is educating people and informing people. And I'm calling to the Guyanese people, they should listen to the Glenn Lall show, and they should advise people to listen to, so that they can learn and educate themselves what is really going on in this country. You know, we have a government, we choose a government, we vote for government. But if you vote for government and the government is not doing the right thing, you have an obligation. It's like choose a wife. If you choose a wife or a husband, and they are doing what I know in Guyanese language people know, either partner is giving you blow. You either leave the person or you can stay with the person and you can take blow. Our government is giving us blow.
Yes.
It's giving us blow with all the foreign companies that I have ever known. And with ExxonMobil, this is not blow. This is blow. This is blow for all. And yet people seems to be sleeping, they are snoring. You know, we human beings belongs to the herbivorous section. And when we are born with our eyes open to see. But like when we get older, we seems to become very much blind and short-sighted. Like the carnivorous being, they're born with their eyes shut. But when they start to see, they see like cats and dogs. They see things well till they die. But something really wrong with the Guyanese people. They really need a specialist, the greatest of ophthalmologists, to really clean their eyes. I am telling you.
One second.
I can't see.
One
Yes.
second.
Yeah, brother.
You talk about me being Noah. I am not Noah. I am just the news carrier. I've been in this business 27 years, and like I said many times before, my friend, that this oil industry is new to Guyana.
Yes.
And countries, I want you to listen to this carefully.
Yes.
Many countries took 40, 50, 60, 70 years to understand it. Right? And look, Trinidad, for example. Trinidad is in the gas business for almost 100 years. And just a few months ago, they found a loophole in which Trinidad was losing billions of TT dollars a year. And when they found that loophole, they went back to BP and said, guys, come here. You can't do this to us. You're going to repay us all that you stole. So the point I'm making is that the industry is huge. And back in those days, there wasn't the type of technology we have today. Right? Look, what I'm telling you here, what I've been telling you guys here for the last year, what we have been reporting through the newspaper from the moment we found oil in 2015. Man, it has ExxonMobil. It giving ExxonMobil and Hess and Sinop and the leaders belly work to know that we have learned so much.
Yes.
What we have learned in 6 years took nations 40 years, and it is all because of today's technology, my friend.
Yes.
So don't give us kudos. Don't give us kudos. We are in the business. All I want you to do for me is to help to spread the word that we are sharing here, so that the nation can wake up.
Yeah. But you see, one man mistake is another man gain. They pass through it and they suffer, so we learn from them, so we can put things right.
Exactly.
But I want to tell tell the nation that history is a wonderful subject. And we must remember that we had people like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Gandhi. And I can remember a story where when the British was ruling India, there was a street in India, people couldn't walk. You have to crawl on the street. And Gandhi says that if Almighty God wants us to crawl, make us snakes and maybe cockroaches. And Gandhi said that he would walk the street tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Everybody in India want to see that. So they have gunmen. If you walk the street, they shoot you, And when Gandhi ji, before he came to that place, there were millions of people. When the gunman saw the crowd, he ran for his life. So when that happened, the people went to Gandhi ji and bowed to Gandhi ji and they calling gods and all of that. And Gandhi said, no, it's not me alone. It's you, the people. If it was me alone, they would have probably killed me.
Yes.
But when I see the millions of Gandhi, they have to run. The point I'm making, Glenn Lall might be the man who is speaking out and saying it. He might be the Nelson Mandela, the Gandhi, or the Martin Luther King of Guyana, but he needs the support of the people.
Exactly.
He needs the support. If my brother then I'll get the support from the people, we can change this place to Dubai and more and
overnight.
And maybe Dubai too.
Yes.
Not only Dubai.
Exactly.
Dubai too, right?
Exactly.
But we need the support. My brother Glenn, God will bless you. That you don't have intestine, you have guts, and you don't have seed like most men. You have the balls to speak out. I can tell you that. Maybe we really have to get a good doctor to examine some of our leaders then. Right? If they are men, if they are women, or I don't know, if they're a youth agenda.
I'll tell you this. I have what every man has. I don't have anything more or anything less. But let me tell you this. It's part of my, what do you call it, dharma? It's part of me. Being in the business 27 years, I have no fear about this, man. This has been my business. It's like a taxi driver. The man is a taxi driver. He has to do what he has to do. He goes into Buxton in the wee hours when they're killing people. He go here, he go there. He's not brave. It's his work. He was designed. Our Creator designed him that way, gave him that portfolio, and that has become his occupation, his job. And this is what I'm doing. So don't put me up too high. I just have what everybody has.
Put you high. We need a leader like you, man. We need a
leader
like you, man.
I will.
We need brave people, man. We don't need. You know, they must say champion of the world, but me no one champion of the world. I'm thinking can grow. You know, only him, champion of the world. My brother, Lall, you keep up the good work, brother. You will indeed win the support of the people gradually. And even if you don't, in the eyes of the Almighty, you would have done that's what God sent you here for.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Very smart guy. Thank you. I'm just doing what I have to do. We all come here to play our role, We are just playing our role. We are just doing what the Maker sent us to do. And we can't do nothing more or nothing less. And that's my belief. Go ahead.
Come, go ahead.
Good night.
Good night.
You're doing live show?
Yes, you are on live.
Thank God. Good night to Mr. Glenn and the panel.
Good night.
When I heard him playing that thing that the Vice President talk and the big to come up, it tells me one thing. He's a liar and he's in partnership with ExxonMobil and all the oil players them. Because you don't want to pay coverage, insurance coverage, because he's in partnership with them. That's my contribution.
See, I fully agree with you, mate. Sometimes when he speak, like tonight, like today, when he was talking about securing, about, I was like, this money, this insurance that he's asking Exxon to give the Guyanese people. I was thinking like, this money coming out of his bank book, it left you basity, it left you speechless, you know, to comprehend what this leader is saying to us. He has to protect us, man.
You know? I want to concur with you that you need it.
And then and the way how he's squeezing his throat to, man, you want to know, or if his parents have to pay this money? You know? You listen to him. You want to play it back? Play it back. Play it back and listen again, man. That's today.
As you know, we're constantly seeking to improve the permits, and so we've already, in the one that we're looking for the Yellowtail project, we're looking for a generic position where the parent company, Exxon, will now guarantee up to we're looking at maybe up to $2 billion of any damage caused here in Guyana, because from the beginning there was no parent company guarantee. It was implicit, they said. So we are looking at it, and it has to grow. This would have to grow. But it is now getting them to acknowledge that there is that link between the two. That's crucial for us as we move forward.
You heard him. We are looking for a generic position. That generic position means a standard thing. You're looking for a standard thing with $2 billion, maybe $2 billion. You know, up to. Not even two. Hello, it could be $1. But you hear how he put in the figure, and you hear his language. He's thinking what to say, because Exxon must have written that line and give him, and he can't remember it. That's why he was stammering to find the right way how to put it. This is what they do. They just deceive you, man, with lines. And go back and read it. I have said that since last year. Oh, I only said that last week. This is what they do. This is the conniving, dirty games politicians playing, especially in third world countries with its people. But when you have a nation who love and believe in their leaders, they accept anything that comes their way. Everything they treat them like gods, demigods. They maler them and do all these fancy things. This is what they do. You know?
Yep.
And it's so sad. It's so sad. If you guys we have any other phone call?
One call.
Well, let's...
Caller, good evening and welcome to the Glenn Lall Show. We seem to lost that caller there. We lost it. Caller, good evening, you there?
Yeah, good night.
Good night, go ahead with your presentation, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to the Glenn Lall Show.
Yeah, good night. I just want to say something back again.
We lost it.
Okay.
Yeah, good night.
Go ahead with your presentation.
Sorry, you have to lower the volume of your... Sir, you need to lower the volume of your device you're listening to us from. You can't speak to us and listen to yourself at the same time. We lost him. You can call us on 226-7453.
Yeah, I think the number...
226-7454. And 622-2222. 226-7453 and 226-7454, 622-2222. Those are the numbers you can reach us on this evening, WhatsApp or SMS.
Josh, you have to keep repeating. You have to keep giving them the numbers.
So, you have a caller? Those telephone numbers, 226-7453 and 226-7454. You can call us on WhatsApp on 622-2222. Caller, good evening and welcome to the Glenn Lall Show. Hello? Good evening, sir. Go ahead.
Okay.
Bless listening to your program tonight and hearing your comments about everything that is being going on in Guyana, especially with our oil content. Excuse me for fumbling.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. We all fumble.
Yeah. Mr. Lall, what are we going to do? This is a question not for you, but for the country of Guyana. What are we as Guyanese going to do? We're hearing you sharing your message every day. And your message is loud. It's loud. It's clear. It's like David Chappelle speaking at a platform. It's like the individual that you put on Sunday night, last night, that gave his sermon, his speech about the Pan-African deal. What is Guyana going to say for itself, knowing all the information that it does know with Trinidad, as you speak, Trinidad, over almost 100 years of being robbed of their oil wealth, and all the different other nations being robbed of their oil wealth and their, their sanctity of life. You see how I'm bringing the sanctity word there?
I hear you, yeah.
Because we got people saying sanctity of contract. But what about the sanctity of Guyanese, of Guyana, to gain from their contracts?
Well said.
You cannot, I have heard so many people call in and so many people ask, Mr. Lall, what will Guyana be or what will it not be if this is not being looked after or this is not being looked at? Does Jagdeo care? Does an Ali care? Does a Harmon care? Does a Trotman care? They should. They do not have Guyana's best interests at heart. They have their pockets, their families, their close friends, their circle. You're the only one coming out. As for now, I don't know, maybe, who knows, you may spur a few other creatures to come out of the darkness and try to spread some light, but it isn't looking that way. Every single thing that you hear, you hear and you understand about what is going on in this country.
Can you hold on the line? Can you hold on the line?
I didn't hear. Yes, I am.
We are getting somewhere. Trust me. We have to get our fair share of our God-blessed wealth in this land, my friend. And it's happening, It has already begun to happen. But I see it and I keep it quiet. I smile every day when I see how the Kaieteur News and this program is bringing about a change in them. I've shared 2 examples with you because I dealt with it tonight, but I didn't want to bring it out. This relinquishment that I talked about, that the Vice President says how he's going to put them, he will go after them, get them back, and put them to action. That's a plus. I have just spoke about that last week, in which every 4 years, in some contracts every 2 years, the oil companies, if they haven't drilled, if they haven't fulfilled the contract terms, they have to relinquish portions. It was 50% of the oil blocks back to Guyana. And the coalition went to Parliament and changed that for ExxonMobil and put it to 20% every 4 years. But still, although those are wrongs that would have done in the contract, at least we get the Vice President today to say he will get them back, he's going after them, and so that Guyana can draw in some cash. So all these are positive things. All these are positive things that are beginning to happen. Look, the insurance, we have pushed them, put their backs against the wall. You see how we forced them to come out and say, well, we will get them to sign 2 billion. At least it is something. We are getting somewhere. But I will never, and no Guyanese should ever accept 2 billion. We need full cover insurance or nothing. And we don't need full cover insurance on the 4th project. We need them on all the projects. And this 4th project that I'm talking about, I said it and I'm going to repeat it. Anytime Jagdeo and Harmonem allow this 4th project to go ahead, and you people don't get out on this road to stop it, in which we can recover, we can get all our taxes, we can change the royalty, we can change the profit sharing, we can change so many things so that Guyana can become Dubai overnight. I am done with this program. I am done with this program.
Mr. Lall,
yes.
I'm very sorry for continuing.
Right.
Can I ask you a simple question?
Mm-hmm.
You have on the line the change that the VP has made by saying 2 billion in his insurance stammering deal. Okay. Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
When the time comes for them to change even more, how many stammers do we have to hear?
Man, don't do me this, man. Please.
No, man.
Please.
I mean, look, let me come out for just being skeptical and just go real now.
Yes.
Right? And say, you mentioned BK in your presentation tonight. You remember BK and the oil spill on the New Orleans coast?
No, BK, I didn't. I mentioned BP, British Petroleum.
Well, yeah, British Petroleum.
Yeah.
And British Petroleum, right, had their oil spill.
Yeah.
Good. And the Louisiana coast, how it is with its fishing industry. You've been talking about the fishing industry so much, and you've even brought, people who are testifying towards the fishing industry in Guyana. Imagine the fishing industry in Louisiana, which is at a humongous scale beyond Guyana's own, compared to us.
Yeah.
And we actually go and fight with Suriname, forget a little piece of thing, for do a little thing with fishing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And Trinidad, you understand? And imagine that is not there anymore. And BP lived up to a point, not 100%, but they did their fair share,
No, well, BP.
Louisiana is coming back to a point where they can say, okay, we can get a little crayfish and we can get little lobsters and a little fineries now, right? After that spill, which was disastrous in that time.
Hold one second. Hold a second. In the case of the 2010 oil spill by BP in the Gulf of Mexico, insurance cover everything. In the case of Louisiana Broken Pipeline, and they are fully insured. In Louisiana, ExxonMobil sold out the business, the oil field, when they already finished with it. That wasn't in their interest anymore. The oil was not coming up fast enough for them to make money, so they sold it to third party. And when that spill occurred, the small party, like how we have these third parties working with Exxon out there, they could not live up to the insurance for the damages they did to Louisiana. And you know what Louisiana did? Took them to court and took ExxonMobil to court and got judgment that ExxonMobil, parent company, will stand all cost and expenses. Is Guyana...
Through a Supreme Court.
Exactly.
Through a Supreme Court.
Exactly. Is Guyana ready to do things like that?
Supreme Court. We have a judicial system that says, hey, you can be drunk and you can knock down somebody and kill them, especially a national rider, and say, hey, you know what? You're a political leader. So who cares?
I hear you. I hear you.
I am so sorry if this may temper your view or whatever the case may be in regards. I don't want to keep up much of your time, Mo, but I just wanted to end up with saying, Mr. Lall, we are going to continuously support and listen to what you are saying. And we're going to draw people to listen to what you are saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our demigod is going to come out and say, oh wow, he is a madman. Why listen to him? It's sarcastic. It is meant to be funny. But yet still it's not. It's becoming a norm. It's becoming a truth. Because our culture does not understand the difference between sarcasm. We do not understand. Because our literacy level within our population is not increasing as much as the education department says they want to do more and they want to do this and they want to do that. They're not doing.
I hear you, bro. I hear you.
Our populace cannot be to the level to understand.
Yes.
We have children. We have children, little God angels, I will say, that are growing with the animosities of the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, and the 80s, and the 90s. When are we gonna? When is our education going to say, no, we are not gonna do this? No, we are not gonna allow this.
Well.
Is it that every generation has to fight for this?
What you're saying there, my friend, what you're saying there, many of the Asian, Africans and Arabian countries has gone through, and we are now going through it. I only hope that we can grow through it faster than them. And I love what you said. We have to spread the news. We have to open ourselves, get people to understand what's going on, and just disregard them. When you play what they say, trust me, you get the not so smart people. They themselves will come to grips in their mind when they listen the words, what is coming out from our leaders' mouth. And they're also looking at the silence, the complete silence from all the leaders in this land.
Yes.
All right? So we're going to get there.
And like how you say the smart people, Mr. Lall. Because even the smart people are dumb. Have you not looked at it?
Yes.
Imagine Mr. Ali took a picture only recently. And there was Joe Biden, there was Glasgow from Antigua.
I saw it.
And you had a few others.
I saw it.
I took a picture, and the comment was, right? And the headline for that picture was, oh, he forced himself into a group and had to take a picture.
We are running out of time, my friend.
That's so.
We are running out of time.
I don't want to take up enough of your time, right?
We are running out of
I love
time.
listening to you, and I hear this, and when are we going to come out from this tit for tat?
I want.
When we are going to understand, when Mr. Harmon comes out and say, you know what, I have told and I've written to Mr. Ali on numerous occasions that, well, okay, you need to set an agenda and you need to send me a proposal and I need to understand the questions we're going to speak on and do these things. This is formal. Yes, it needs to happen, right?
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
Ali did not agree to speaking with Mr. Harmon. But now Ali comes out and says, hey, guess what? Let me speak with you. Now Mr. Harmon's gonna shadow it now with, okay, let's not do this because you want political fame and you just want to look nice in front of the populace. But unless we get together and literally put aside them nonsense, them rhetoric and all the English nonsense that we like to say and come together as a country,
as a people,
and speak with each other. Where can we go? What can we do?
All right, thank you.
The ball is in my court, the ball is in your court. Where are we gonna go?
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Listen, we gotta go.
Wonderful, thank you.
We gotta go.
Thank you.
We gotta go. You gotta come on the air and join me here. I need your support. I need your brace. I need your help. And that's an invitation for me. You can call me anytime. I want to leave you guys with the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, presentation she delivered to the world leaders today at COP26. It's just 3 minutes. Just listen to her carefully. And all of you, thanks for listening. God bless. Play that the man is at time.
Your Royal Highness, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.